Yo, what is going on, everybody? Mad Scientist back with another video. Today, I'm just gonna jump right into it. I was thinking about what video I can make today to bring value, what topic, something I learned, and then I realized, or I had a feeling come over me. I guess is the best way to explain it. That it's let's just talk today. I kind of wanted to just share a little bit of my story, so you can get to know me, get to know who you're going to be seeing on this channel. My name's Kyle Dillinger, for those that don't know me, and I first and foremost, let me give a shout out to my coach and mentor who turned into a very close personal friend of mine, Marshall Gillen. He is the push I needed at the perfect timing, to start getting my life on track to the path that I wanted to take. Um, and yeah, that it's led to a lot of beautiful things, and it all circles back to that push that he gave me, and I credit a lot to him. There's tons of people I can credit to, but Marshall Galen is one of the main ones. So shout out to you, brother. Um, so yeah, let's just get into a little of my story. So I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of different stories I could tell. So I'll just like jump into my basic overall life pattern real quick, on some of the things, and then we'll get into whatever I feel I'll talk about. So I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, '92. In 1992. So I'm 27 right now. I have a 7-year-old son. He's about to turn 8 in a few days, actually, on the 11th. And I had him when I was 19, the same year I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. But before that, so let's back up. See, I already went on a little tangent. So yeah, born in Cincinnati, moved to Arizona when I was around 6 months, I think. Honestly, I don't remember this. Obviously, I've seen pictures from when I was young, and then there was trips to Arizona to visit my grandma that lived out there. So I remember those trips when I was a little bit older. But so we moved back, and fast forward to when I was 9, my parents got divorced, and me, my mom, and my sister moved up to Michigan, and then we traveled back and forth every other weekend for the most part. There were some weekends where, um, we had events or whatever it was, and then, but for the most part, every other weekend we traveled. Me and my sister would travel to see my dad, and um, I guess if we see this as, we'll just get right into this. I First and foremost, I'm coming off of a very deep depressive state. Not now. This was back in 19 summer of 19, and it kind of all starts as a child, and I chose to never spoke up about anything, and never speak up about anything, um, all the way up until like last summer. Basically, I was I had told myself and that I would never speak on things because I knew from a very young age, if you talk about things, um, as far as like a depressive state, then you're automatically labeled as like crazy, is what I was thinking. I don't know why I knew that or felt that at a young age. So even while I had to take therapy, I was very angry at anger management, um, just not a good person. No, I genuinely was a good person, but I would have very strong outbreaks of anger, for a long time, and that just ended 3 or 4 years ago. Um, I have forgiven myself for a lot of those things, but I, I'm just an empath by nature, and I still wander a little bit sometimes and think about the hurt that I caused those people, but I have to realize everything happens for a reason, and I've sent tons of love and prayers out to all the people I've hurt, and it's in God's hands now, and I know that so not to get I'm not to get on that tangent, but I look as our God, cosmos, one creator, that type of is the God that I look up to. Consciousness, sometimes we call it. So when I say God, that's who I'm referring to personally. Um, but yeah, it's in to what I see God's hands, and I've started to let that go. But anyway, back to the story. Um, so I had anger management. They thought I was depressed. I mean, you could tell I was sad, and that's what led to some of the um, me having to see a therapist when I was in my like teen years. Um, but I mean, damn, I could not fit in at school. I got picked on by countless different people. I fit in with a couple people, and a couple people, um, like they know who they are. They were never mean to me, and but some people were just ruthless, right? So I I actually ended up moving back from Michigan in between my junior and senior year, which that was a tough decision because I was like, I've been in the same school system all the way up until my junior year, but I couldn't take it anymore. And in between that and me and my stepdad butted heads a lot, even though I love him, and well, he's my ex stepdad now. I love him, and I have love for him, and we connect on some levels, but we just butted heads a lot, and so that was part of the decision also to move back. But so I moved back my senior year. Did not really fit in with a bunch of people at that school either, to be honest. Um, a lot of rumors got spread, which I guess is normal in schools. And now that I think about it, it's just rumors spread like wildfires. And so yeah, I didn't really have a very good year there either. And then we moved into, when I'm 19 at college, um, I end up having my son, and I found out I have diabetes that year. So again, I've never talked about my thoughts. I created the worst possible mental prison you could possibly think of and lived in it for years. So where I'm at now, leaps and bounds ahead of where I was. I look back and I'm like, no wonder I could never like get into a new life or a new thinking pattern, because I was just living in a mental hell and never talking about it. 19 was okay. This was one of the biggest things also too is, and this is why we need to bring light to some of these situations, because some people are walking around with mental prisons, and creating hell in their mind from some of these situations. Nothing so far like like I was just being a little victim for most of those things, and I realize that now. At the time I didn't. Like, it was not that big of a deal to drive every other weekend for 9 hours, but for some reason I'm like, oh gosh, got to do this drive. But I loved seeing my dad, so it's like there's no way I'm not going to do that drive. So yeah, so that, I mean, I realized I created all of this myself. That was one of the first biggest recognitions for me, to really start changing my life and just accepting it, and stop being so hard on myself. And so yeah, I 19 when I was 19 was also the same year that, I really don't want to get into the details of the story. I might at some point, um, through sharing my journey. I'm sure I will, but we'll just say it for what it was. I got molested by um, someone, and I don't even know their name, to be honest. And I held on to so much guilt for so long for no reason, because as soon as I forgave myself and forgave that person, because who the hell knows what happened in their life for them to make to to live with that and think that that is okay. They have had to create, I'm not going to speak on them, but to me that just seems like they have a lot of more issues than I got. um so yeah, there's just a lot. Okay, so I'm just gonna, that was a lot of different things from my personal life. And um I mean, there was a lot of different things in between that would also contribute to me creating a mental prison for myself. And if I didn't have the few people around me, like shout out to my brother and my parents and my sister, like the closest family that sees you the most, obviously, luckily they are all loving. And that's one of the biggest contributions to for me to be able to get through all that, because yeah, I mean, you have to have love in some kind. And honestly, on this journey, self-love has become the main feeding of my happiness. Like, it feels so good to do the things that I love and to step out of the shadows from being secluded for so long and thinking I'm like crazy. But even not even thinking I'm crazy, but like just not relating to people and thinking I'm the problem. It's not, it wasn't their fault, it wasn't my fault. I was just not surrounding myself with the all like the right like environment, really. And you, but what I realize is you can control that, because nothing outside can, when you really get there where I truly feel like I am now, where you can't kill my vibe. You can't say something that's going to hurt me. You, I mean, you can, and it will hurt for a second, but I'm to a point where I can't let that affect me. I won't let it affect me. And, so I'm going off again, but you get the gist. I've realized that if you get to a place where you're truly happy in here, the outside environment, no matter what it is, even if you weren't raised in a loving home and had very shitty parents. And I'm not saying any of these events are any worse or less than another, because the event or what happens to us isn't what's causing. I don't want to misspeak or sound and not sound understandable, so I got to put this together properly. But I look at it as in like being molested or having diabetes, or you got shot in the leg, or you had bad parents growing up, or you were homeless at one point. The we it All those events, like, you don't rank those events. Like, those are traumas that happen. Getting bullied is a trauma. It doesn't happen to everybody. We can all relate with our events with one another in some way. I'm sure that any single person watching this could share something. If we both went through our lives in a chronological order, at some point we're going to be like, oh, wow, I relate in this way in my life. Like, we can all relate to one another in some form or fashion. Even the people that you think like, oh, what about, you see like somebody that grows up in a nice rich family and you think that they have everything, but like, you don't know what those kids go through. You don't know what those kids that are living the high life, so to speak, from the very beginning of their life. You don't know what happens to them. You don't know what they're thinking mentally. So why even worry about other people from now on? Like, I mean, worry about other humans. Like, let's be nice to one another. But I'm saying, like, as far as in your personal life and your own happiness, it has to come from here, or it's or it can be taken away from you. you I'm at a place now where I I won't let it affect me. I won't. I'm always going to be happy. It's a choice. Happiness is a choice. Start researching it. I know some of the things, like some things you're like, well, gosh, it sounds so easy, but it's not. But no, like some things really are. I didn't know it. I didn't accept it for so long, but as soon as you come across things and research things that truly start to connect and align with you, like just don't stop growing, and don't stop, like, find positive people to be around. What do I want to say? That's the bottom line. Let's help each other be happy. Stop being mean. Stop thinking we know everything. We don't know even 1% of what this world is capable of. And I know that's I'm not going to explain that. Just let's be happy. Let's help each other. And let's start having fun. Life is supposed to be fun. Let's start having fun. I love you all. Be kind.